Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer versus Gary Neville. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his Man United coaching staff are angered by Gary Neville's role in Man United's protest. Gary Neville blames the Glazers for the protests and he said it was a peaceful protest. When the European Super League came into the equation, Gary Neville obviously told the Glazer family to sell Manchester United and he called them scavengers. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had a personal apology from the Glazers. Solskjaer said the violent incidents went too far. He says the club need to listen to the fans. Avram Glazer recently refused to apologise over the European Super League. Sky News caught up with him in Florida. Avram Glazer refused to answer any questions. Obviously, the Man United-Liverpool game got postponed on the 2nd of May because hundreds of our fans went inside Old Trafford and invaded the pitch. Obviously, there was protesting against the Glazers. The Man United-Liverpool game has been rearranged to Thursday, the 13th of May. More protests are planned at Old Trafford. Will the Old Trafford protests force the Glazers out of the club? The Glazers could be forced to sell Manchester United, but for only £4 billion. Before that, it said the Glazers have no intentions of selling Manchester United, so reflecting on that, they're here to stay, and the Glazers are ignoring the protests. The other week, our fans protested against the Glazers at Carrington. Some of our fans blocked entrances into the Carrington training ground to protest, and don't forget, there was holding banners up saying 51%, MUFC 20, we decide when you play, and Glazers out. At one point, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer defended the Glazers because he told protesters that Joe Glazer loves the club. And he said, the Glazer family will not sell Manchester United. You can understand the fans' frustration. The Glazers have put us in debt by so much. The Glazers bought the club for $500 million back in 2005. The Glazers have been at Manchester United for 16 years. If we get them out, I can assure it will be the right decision by Man United because I hate the way the football club has been run now for a while. So we need to recommend new owners in. Now obviously, the news regarding Ed Woodward. It got announced the other week that Ed Woodward resigned as Manchester United vice chairman and he will stand down at the end of the year. I presume all United fans were delighted with the news regarding Ed Woodward, because we've been very critical of him for a long time. Ed Woodward has had a 16-year association with Manchester United. Not so long ago, Ed Woodward's home got attacked by masked protesters. It said the other week that Ed Woodward will get to choose Manchester United's next chief executive. And it says there could be 5 candidates we could look at. The other week it said Edwin van der Sar was the favourite to replace Ed Woodward. But now apparently the Glazers have a 3-man short list to replace Ed Woodward. Woodward did say earlier on this season that he believes Solskjaer is the right man to lead the club forward, and he released a statement regarding the players and Solskjaer, and he says the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. And even when he was enjoying them really bad periods under Ollie, when he was close to getting sacked, Wood would come out several times to show his support for him. Because like I've mentioned, our board have got a very soft stance on Ollie, with him being a legend of the club. Now, obviously, you know the news on the transfers. There's so many players that Manchester United are looking at. The Glazers are planning to sanction a £90 million bid for Harry Kane. Now, earlier on this season, Harry Kane said he wants to leave Tottenham if Tottenham fail to qualify for the Champions League. He said he's decided that he wants to stay in the Premier League if he decides to leave Tottenham. Earlier on this season, it said that PSG were looking to beat us and City to the signing of Harry Kane. Harry Kane said he wants to win team trophies after Tottenham's Carabao Cup final defeat to Man City. Earlier on this season, Kane refused to commit his future to Tottenham. You know, it said he's delaying his transfer decision until after the Euros. Daniel Levy, Tottenham's chairman's already said Tottenham will only consider offers for Harry Kane starting at £125 million. Kane's been on our agenda for quite some time now. David Ornstein spoke about him earlier on this season. He said he spoke to people in football. He said Harry Kane is unhappy at Tottenham. He wants to leave. He said he's committed to Tottenham whilst he's there, but he wants to win the biggest trophies, and obviously he hasn't been experiencing this at Tottenham. Kane's been a very long servant at Tottenham. He's endured 17 years with them, been in their senior squad since 2009, and he's got a contract with Tottenham until 2024. He's had loan spells before with Leyton Orient, Millwall, Norwich and Leicester. I'd certainly take Kane though at Man United because 1, he's well Premier League proven, and 2, he would assure his goals. And he's won the Golden Boot a couple of times at Tottenham, reflecting on his good performances. Tottenham would really struggle without Harry Kane, and they're struggling now as it is. Not so long ago, they sacked Jose Mourinho. Now, I think there's a very good chance that Manchester United will sign Jadon Sancho in the summer transfer window. Borussia Dortmund are willing to sell him, so they have much greater chance of keeping Erling Haaland. Now, Borussia Dortmund recently confirmed that they've got a gentleman's agreement with Sancho over a possible transfer. Borussia Dortmund have set their asking price for Sancho. They want between £74 to £78 million. Borussia Dortmund have already admitted that they'll sell Sancho for the right price this summer, and Borussia Dortmund's CEO did reveal earlier on this season that the club will discuss exceptional offers for Sancho. Earlier on this season, it said that we was preparing to put a £50 million bid in because we believed we could get him for the cut price deal. Before that, he said we paused our transfer pursuit of Sancho due to the progress of Mason Greenwood. Chelsea have recently entered the race for him, but they've been in for him before, and Liverpool have expressed their interest. If Sancho comes to the Premier League, I think he would exceed expectations. You know, he'd replicate what he's done at Borussia Dortmund. But if he comes to Man United, you know, he'll fit in the team. He'll create good chances and he'll score goals. He's predominantly a right winger, but I think you can also put Sancho centrally. Last summer was our number one priority target. Sancho to Man United last summer was extremely close because obviously it said the personal terms had been agreed, the agent fees had been agreed, and even a contract had been agreed, but we couldn't come to an agreement on an actual fee, so that's what the stumbling block was. Dortmund were demanding 108 million and we was reluctant to meet their 108 million valuation, was only willing to pay so much up front. We had until the 10th of August last summer to sign Sancho. Dortmund did make it clear. We failed to meet that deadline, so Sancho obviously remained at Dortmund. And Fabrizio Romano, who's a very reliable Italian journalist and close to Man United, he's spoken a lot about the Sancho saga, and so too has Bild's Christian Falk. This has been Jadon Sancho's 4th season at Dortmund. He's got a contract with Dortmund till 2023, and Dortmund paid just £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017. So yeah. And obviously, on my last video, I spoke with you about Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba is set to stay at Manchester United. Paul Pogba says he is happy. So a new deal is imminent for Paul Pogba. Pogba's current contract expires next year. Don't forget, earlier on this season we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. Solskjaer wants Paul Pogba to stay. He said earlier on this season that Paul Pogba's future lies at Man United and he hopes he signs a new contract. Now, it recently said that Man United will sell Paul Pogba this summer if he doesn't sign a new contract. It said Man United are set to offer him a new deal worth £400,000 a week, but it says Paul Pogba's demanding £500,000 a week. He says we will demand £80 million for Paul Pogba this summer. He's had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid. PSG have been in for him. Barcelona have been in for him. And his former club Juventus have been in for him. Paul Pogba endured 4 good years with Juventus before he rejoined Manchester United. And I said there's a very good chance he will go back there if he does leave the club in the summer transfer window. I want us to keep him potentially past the summer because we've been getting the best out of him in recent months. You know, Pogba brings creativity to the team, doesn't he? You know, disregarding him will lack creativity and we are far too defensive. Don't forget, earlier on this season he was out with a thigh injury for a while and he was a big miss. He had an ankle injury at the first part of this season and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. We seem to play him a lot more now in more of an advanced role. We need to keep him in that advanced role because that's where he's more effective. We paid £89 million for Paul Pogba, so reflecting on that, he's our most expensive signing at the moment, and this has been Pogba's 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. Mini Oriola, he's done quite a lot of talking throughout the course of this season. He did say not so long ago that Paul Pogba wants to win trophies at Man United or another top European club. He said Paul Pogba's future is still in doubt, and he recently spoke about a Eden Hazard and Paul Pogba swap deal. Swap deals have been high on the agenda. He did say earlier on this season, did Mino Raiola, that he doesn't give a fuck if he doesn't take another player to Man United as long as his clients are happy. And he did criticise Sir Alex Ferguson for forcing Pogba out of the club when he was younger. Mino Raiola also said though earlier on this season he's got no intentions of destabilising his client's season. And he made an admission saying that he's working quietly on Paul Pogba's transfer to avoid offence. He made an announcement back in December last year regarding Paul Pogba, and Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola's announcement. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is aware of how big this year's summer transfer window is going to be for himself and Manchester United in general. The summer transfer window will be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as permanent Man United manager. Solskjaer did warn earlier on this season that we may not do business as usual due to the pandemic, but he said he's interested in bringing in players that will be a perfect fit for the club. I'm expecting us to spend a substantial amount in the summer transfer window, but earlier on this season Solskjaer did mention that he wants to keep transfer dealings quiet. I'm expecting us to make around 3 or 4 signings in the summer transfer window, and I've already identified the areas in the squad where we need to strengthen up. I can assure Solskjaer will be Man United manager in the summer transfer window, and he will be Man United manager next season. And I've already said Solskjaer does deserve at least another season at Man United. Solskjaer's made it clear that he wants good backing. You know what? I'm expecting him to get the backing he deserves, because we've got John Murtough, he's our director of football. Darren Fletcher, he's our technical director, and plus we've got Matt Judge. And he's been part of the club for a long time. And plus, if we get a new chairman in, and we get new owners in, that could back Ole more as well. Because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has not been backed enough yet as Manchester United manager, because obviously he hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in as yet. But to be honest with you, the board's been one of the biggest problems at the club for a long time, reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've overpaid for players, and in general, none of the managers have got the players that they wanted that we've had since Ferguson retired. But in the summer transfer window, we're going to focus on the incomings and the outgoings. Quite a few players are going to leave Man United in the summer transfer window. There's obviously a very, very good chance that De Gea's going to go. Actually, we're looking at Sam Johnstone from West Brom as a replacement for De Gea. We're looking for a second choice goalkeeper, because obviously Dean Henderson's now our number 1. Some United fans think it would be a mistake by letting De Gea go. I don't think it would be, because I reckon he's had his years now at Manchester United. He's endured 10 years at the club, De Gea, so he's been a long servant. I reckon he's had around 8 good years, De Gea, because in the last couple of years it has been a liability, reflecting on the calamitous mistakes he's made. But a few years ago, De Gea was regarded as the best goalkeeper in the world. He's won everything domestically at the football club, and he's made over 500 appearances for Man United in all competitions. De Gea has 2 years left on his current contract, and he's on £375,000 a week. Earlier on this season, it did say though that De Gea had made his transfer decision. He's preparing to leave Man United, and he said we're set to pay off his huge contract. We'd set the price for De Gea, it's 50 million. You know, if we get £50 million, that's still a big profit we've made because we only paid like £19 million for him from Atletico Madrid. But I think there's a very, very good chance he will go back to Spain, De Gea. Romero, I think there's a very, very good chance we'll offload him because Romero's like, our third or fourth choice goalkeeper now. Romero's been with us since 2015. We got him on a free from Sampdoria, didn't we? Don't forget. We brought him in under Louis van Gaal, and most of Romero's appearances have come in the cup. Phil Jones, we need to offload him because he's always been inconsistent. Plus, he doesn't get an R11, and plus, he's been out of injury for over a year. Still injured now. Jones is the only outfield player that's still here from the Ferguson era. This has been his 10th season at Man United, so he's been a long servant. Axel Tuanzebe, I think we need to offload him as well because he doesn't get an R11. The best game I recall Tuanzebe having for Man United was their game against PSG. Diego Dalot, I think we were looking to get rid of him permanently. He's out on loan with AC Milan at the moment. Nemanja Matic, I think there's a good chance we'll offload him because I've always had my strong reservations about him because he's always been a static player. Plus he's aging up, and analysing the vast majority of his games at Man United, he's been inconsistent. But despite not being one of our first choice midfielders, he still gets his opportunities, doesn't he? Matic has been at the club a few years now. We got him in a deal worth 40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Juan Mata, good chance we'll offload him. His current contract expires next month, I think. These and options trigger his contract for a further year. Juan Mata doesn't get an R11, and my element of concern about him, he has lost that yard of pace. And plus he's like, 34, 35 now. Mata's been at the club over 6 years now. He's had a good career at Man United. We got him in a deal worth 40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. A lot of United fans are saying that we need to offload Anthony Martial in the summer transfer window because he's no longer good enough to represent the club, Martial, and he's been out of form for the vast majority of this season. You know, the chances have been there for him, but he hasn't converted them. Martial's out of an injury now. It's very, very likely he's going to be out for the remainder of the season. Solskjaer confirmed that not so long ago. Williams, I think we could loan him out because he doesn't get in the team a lot now, and he's our third choice left back. Played a lot of games last season. That's only because Luke Shaw had a couple of periods out with injury. And Alex Telles, the good chance we'll offload him because he's played nowhere near as much as I expected. When we got Telles last summer, I expected him to be our first choice left back immediately, but obviously it hasn't happened. But he's done well in some of the games he's been involved in. We got him in a deal worth 15.4 million from Porto. He said not so long ago that Telles has decided to leave Man United, and Calcio Mercato said that Juventus are interested and Juventus are willing to offer Adrian Rabiot in exchange for Alex Telles. So yeah, the players that we do sell in the summer transfer window will generate money and it will help us with our rebuilding process. There's a lot of players that will stay at Man United though in the summer transfer window, and I reckon there's quite a few players that have got long-term futures at the club. Akana Shaw, Dean Henderson will stay. He's going to be with us long-term, is Dean Henderson. As you all know now, he's our first-choice goalkeeper, and it was the right decision by Man United to put him as number one, because I said he's reliable enough to be our number one. You know, he's done well in a lot of the games he's been involved in. You know, he's made good saves, his distribution's been good, kept a lot of clean sheets, made some good aerial claims. Henderson's got that experience behind him. Don't forget, he did endure 2 successful loans with Sheffield United, and he's had other loan spells before. Before the start of this season, Henderson signed a 6-year contract with Man United, so reflecting on that, he committed his future to the club. Luke Shaw, he'll definitely stay with us. I think he could be with us long term. Luke Shaw's been our best player this season. Luke Shaw has done everything right. He's showed good attacking intent, he's created chances for his teammates, he's got into good positions, his crossing's been good, he's provided width, and defensively he's been superb. Shaw's had a good career at Man United apart from his injuries. Shaw's been at the club over 6 years, and he still remains our first choice left back despite the arrival of Alex Telles last summer. It said the other week that Man United set to offer Luke Shaw a new 5-year contract worth around 180 grand a week. So it says he's going to be given like a £30,000 pay rise. Shaw has just over 2 years left on his current contract. Eric Bailly, obviously we know now he's staying, because not so long ago he signed a new contract with Manchester United until 2024. There's an option of a further year. I'm glad Bailly's staying, because he's a very good centre-half. My only element of concern about him is that he's injury prone, so in that aspect he is a liability. Harry Maguire, obviously he'll be staying. Don't know about long term. He's had some good games at Manchester United, but he's also had some poor games as well. But he certainly wasn't worth the £80 million we got him for. Maguire is the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment, and the second most expensive signing at the club. Victor Lindelof, he'll be staying, but I don't think he'll be with us long term. As you all know, I've got my strong reservations about Victor Lindelof, because he's always just been a static player, and he gets caught out far too many times, and he does make mistakes, so he's a liability. But Lindelof there again has had some good games. Been at the club now a few years. We got him in a deal worth 31 million from Benfica back in 2017. We seem to prefer Lindelof to Eric Bailly, because Lindelof always starts ahead of him. And Wan-Bissaka, I can also assure he'll be staying at Man United. I think he'll be with us long term. Bissaka's really improved. He's still got to show more attacking intent though. In some games he showed good attacking intent, but he's got to do it persistently. And Wan-Bissaka can cross the ball well, and defensively he's always been superb. But when he's poor, he lacks that attacking intent, doesn't get in the positions he should be getting in, and he gets caught out far too many times. This has been his second full season at Man United. We got him in a deal worth 50 million from Palace in the summer of 2019. Good chance Donny van der Beek's going to be staying potentially past the summer, because it recently said that we will reject any offers for Donny van der Beek this summer. Solskjaer has big plans for him. Now, earlier on this season, it said that we was considering a swap deal for Donny van der Beek. There was talks of an Adrian Rabiot and Donny van der Beek swap deal. Van der Beek has played nowhere near as much as I expected. Most of Van der Beek's appearances have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league this season. We need to use him more. Now, Ronald de Boer, earlier on this season, backed Van der Beek to become a success at Man United, and he said he still feels loved at the club despite his lack of game time. Earlier on this season, it said that Van der Beek wanted to hold showdown talks with Ed Woodward over his future, because it actually said he wanted to quit Man United after 1 season due to his lack of game time. Solskjaer made an admission regarding Van der Beek earlier on this season. He did say that Van der Beek is unhappy because of his lack of game time, but promised him more game time at Man United. ESPN said back in January, didn't that we rejected several loan offers for Van der Beek. But we got him in a deal worth 40 million from Ajax, didn't we, last summer? And he's versatile, he can play in 3 different roles. Bruno Fernandes, we obviously know that he's going to be staying with us. He'll probably be with us long term. Fernandes will sign a new contract if Paul Pogba commits his future. So Paul Pogba's key to Bruno Fernandes signing his new contract. Greenwood, obviously, he'll stay as well. He's been superb since he broke into our senior squad. Marcus Rashford, he'll also stay. Edinson Cavani, I can't guarantee he'll stay. I don't think a decision has yet been made on Edinson Cavani's future, Solskjaer was saying not so long ago, but he actually said last week that Cavani has decided that he wants to stay at Man United in the summer. And he said it was expected to be official this week. It said Cavani is close to agreeing a one-year contract extension with Man United. And prior to that, Solskjaer did say he's doing all he can to convince Edinson Cavani to stay at the club. I hope he does stay because Cavani has made a fantastic impact since he's come in. Daniel James, he'll also stay as well, potentially past the summer. At one point, there was rumours of Daniel James leaving because he lost his place in the team for a while, but in the last month or so, he has played quite a lot of football, hasn't he? So there you go. But like I say, games are coming up thick and fast for Man United. You know, we've got Roma tonight in the Europa League semi-final, second leg. You know, Villa on Sunday in the Premier League, then Leicester Tuesday, and then Liverpool next Thursday. You know, so there you go. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you for today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.